It's lighted, has sound effects and animation, it even does the reload, and goes through all again with the firing system. It just begs to be an airsoft gun. There we go. Doesn't look like we're going to go very far with this, but a whole slew of wires. From an airsoft point of view, there's really no point to mess with this section. We'll probably preserve this just as it is. Wrong. After a month or two of looking at it, I began to become really irritated with the idea that the needles only retracted about 1.5 inches inside the prop with the stock system, and how that wasn't even close to how things worked in the game. So I started to obsess over how could I make a system that would run the needles out all the way and retract them fully inside the prop. And I started to have a few ideas, got busy with my CAD system. We've been hard at work doing 3D design followed by 3D printing from our associates at Alpha to Zeta Industries. We've teamed up to handle the production of the needle retraction system. So what you're seeing in front of you, left to right, is a sequence of designs to get us to what I hope is the final design for our needle retraction carriers. This is my first design. Worked great. Got a shuttle that holds a run of synchro mesh cable, and that's a cable that's got an outer cable wrapped around it in a spiral, so it can be very precisely located using a stepper motor. So this whole system is going to use a set of 4 stepper motors mounted at the back and on the bottom chassis of the upper body of the needler. But it turns out that our original design is way too massive to even fit itself into the nose of the needler and align with the front row, let alone to fit the needles in with the thing. So back to the drawing board, came up with this guy that is much smaller. It has a much better profile, but even at too small or too large to fit the needles in with it. So I had to go back for a third design, and that's this guy here. I got rid of the traditional rocker switch to be the limit switch, and went with these tiny 2-prong push button switches that'll mount up here in the front at the end of the needle travel and catch the needle as it slides down. Now the needle themselves will travel in these shuttles that fit in the slot here. You can see the teeth where the synchro mesh cable will engage and lock in place with a couple of screws, and I even have a couple of lock tabs on top of the shuttle to make sure it's pretty much foolproof. But the cables, well, from the front row here, enter from the right side, travel around, engage the shuttle, pull it up and down, and there's a return track hidden inside as well, also exiting on the right side. So, for example, row 1 and row 3 will have a pair of stepper motors facing this way, and we'll engage the cables running up this side. Row 2 and 4 will engage stepper motors pointing this direction with the cables running up this side of the fitment. So you see here what I hope are all 4 final designs for the needle carriers. And notice there's a massive difference between each and every one of them. Entirely a scratch design to get them to work. And they'll use these 4x4 pegs to fit into a chassis that goes along the bottom of the upper shell. And that should allow us to extend and retract the needles to get them to fit fully within the upper shell. So for example, this is the last row of needles. This is the row 4 carrier. He'll engage the shuttle and slide down like this and slide back up like this. So you have a flexible fitting here and allow full travel. So you see even at the limit it's well below what's going to be the top of the shell right along here. So stay tuned when we get our synchro mesh cables in from the company, we'll be able to hook it all up and do our first test runs with the needle retraction and extension system. Get this thing on the road.